Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Looking at the put to call ratio right now, it's at 0.70. It's really nothing spectacular. It's not too high, it's not too low. It's kind of just in the middle. So this is the first full week of trading in 2024. Looking at the economic calendar, don't really see anything on Monday. Tuesday, really nothing. Wednesday, no morning news, but we get a 10-year bond auction at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Thursday, we have CPI at 8:30 and unemployment claims at 8:30. Then we have the 30-year bond auction at 1 o'clock. They've been movers most of the time, but I think last time it wasn't. I don't remember. One of the times it was a dud, but yeah, they've been movers. And we have the federal budget balance at 2 o'clock. I don't know if that has any sway or not in the market. I can't remember. I think that one time it did, but I'm just going to point it out just for the sake of pointing it out. And on Friday, we have core PPI at 8:30 on Friday. So we have CPI on Thursday and PPI on Friday. So those should be interesting reports. But other than that, it's a pretty quiet week besides bond auctions and inflation. So we'll have to see what happens. With that said, the VIX had this past week, it's got a green inverted hammer. Usually signals more downside, so we could have a bounce Monday and Tuesday and sell off the rest of the week. We'll have to see what happens, but strong red candle on VIX right here, so if it does manage to get back down to underneath 1250 again, I'll be looking for calls on that, or even 12 for maybe February. Got a lot of things going on. I saw news, I think this morning or last night, that China is ramping up the military around Taiwan. So who knows? I just got this gut feeling that one of these days we're going to wake up and China's going to be invading Taiwan and the market's going to be down $10, $20, or even more. ES will be down probably a few hundred. So we are just one headline away from something very disastrous happening. So just keep that in mind when swinging calls or anything like that, because a lot of unknowns, a lot of things that's happening right now, and anything could really happen. Just one headline could just spiral everything out of control. So with that said, SPY. Yeah, I have the Fibonacci up. I was just curious about it on Friday, wondering how far it brought down, if it brought from the 410 to the near all-time high, if we were getting close to the first Fibonacci level, pull back right here. But we're not. We get like a head and shoulders on the daily. You get the left and the head. You get the left, the head, and the right shoulder. Kind of potentially, you could say this is the right shoulder, or maybe we do have more of a defined right shoulder this week before we actually make the full perfect looking head and shoulders. But patterns are not made to be looking perfect. They're not always going to look perfect. In fact, if they look too defined and too perfect on big time frames, I'm very skeptical of them. I feel like they're major traps. We've seen them before on let's see, the weeklies, where they fake out. I don't remember which week I was looking at. It was something I was looking at. I don't remember when it was. Maybe it was back here. Yeah, it might have been back here. Inverted cup of handle popped and it dropped, and they faked out right here, and they dropped it, and they pushed it up. So when they have big defined things going on, I'm very skeptical of it, because it just ends up being a trap. So we'll have to see what happens if it does end up playing out. But we could just drop from here and go straight down to the 460 level. We got lots of gaps to fill. You get gaps down here at the 445, 430 and the 425. We got lots of gaps to fill. Probably, I don't think we're going to get recession. Anyone saying we're in a recession, the government's in the denial about recession. So, but we're clearly in a recession, anyways, based on all the indicators I've seen. But, anyways, SPY, like I said, I'd watch it over 470. Maybe if it gets over 470, we make a run to all-time highs. Be kind of foolish not to make a run to that. We came so close, within a couple dollars. Or I'd watch it underneath 466 for a push down to 460, 455, 450, 445, maybe $5. But yeah, I'm thinking we may end up bouncing maybe tomorrow and Tuesday, and then completing the head and shoulders pattern, and maybe dropping more. But we could see what I want. What the market will do is totally different things. So just keep that in mind. BA, it dropped from its massive run right here. It's in a bear flag right now, so I'd watch it underneath 245 for push to 235, 230, 225, 220, 215, 210, 205, and then you got like gap support right here at the 203 area. So we could fill that 200 gap. That'd be a pretty big fall, but they got earnings up, and they just had news over the weekend about one of the planes had doors being ripped off or something, or the side of it being ripped out. I don't remember if it was a door or a side, I don't know. But that's probably not good news for Boeing. So keep an eye on that. Boeing, the last thing it needs to do is have more plane issue problems with their new ones. So I don't know if it was new or an older model. I don't really remember. NVIDIA, it started to drop from its $500. I think it was pointing out, this is another prime example. You get the left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder. Nice inverted, excuse me, inverted head and shoulders right here on NVIDIA. Very defined on the daily, and yet it just dumped. So whenever you see a very defined on large time frames, I'm very skeptical, and this is the main reason why I was talking about that. Now, if it gets back to 500, it could take off now. So I would watch it on over 495 for push to 500 and see what it does at 500. Maybe it makes a pop to 505 and 510. And if it doesn't, if it does manage to reject 500, then I'd probably watch that rejection point at 500 on NVIDIA. It just keeps making higher lows. Well, I mean, right here it didn't, but I mean, after this, made a higher low, making a higher low here. So it's definitely looking like it could break 500 this time. And actually, I mean, stay above it possibly. I mean, did it even close above 500? No, it didn't. It has yet to close over 500. Yeah, it has not closed a candle over 500. Every single candle has been under 500. So, yeah, there's a lot of... Actually, this daily candle closed over 500. And that did too. Right here, it's the only time it closed over 500. Other than that, it's been getting slapped on. So, definitely keep an eye on that. Microsoft, another one. It's stuck in this channel. I would keep an eye if it gets underneath this 366. If it breaks this 366, 365 area, it's going to probably drop to 360, 355, 350, 345, and 340, which is a pretty big area. 350 is a pretty big number on that too. So definitely keep an eye on Microsoft for making a pullback on that. Netflix pulling back, rejected the 500 level. We chopped for a few days and it had a nasty drop, and it tried to make a dead cat bounce right here. Still in a bear flag, rejecting this 480 where it rejected it here a bunch of times, and here popped through, then it flushed through, came back, retested it. So I would watch for a drop underneath 466. Or even could say underneath 470, push to 465, 460. 450, 440, basically every $10 or so. But it's got gap support down here at 400, so I don't think it'll break that. It's got earnings coming up, so maybe this is going to make a head and shoulders pattern into earnings, and that'll be kind of scary if it does do that. So definitely keep an eye on that. Tesla, can't seem to type right. I get my keyboard. I have my keyboard off to the side more. So, wrong Tesla. Here we go. Now Tesla pulling back down to the 235 area. I mean, I'll be kind of watching to see if it does bounce in this 230 area. If it does manage to drop below the 235, see if it bounces right here, the 230. If it doesn't, it's going to probably fill the gap down here, 225. I would watch for it to possibly bounce here. And if it doesn't, if it starts to take off, I would watch it over 240. If I push to 250 and 260. And maybe it'll get some traction and make a nice little run to 260, 265 on Tesla. We'll have to see what happens. It'll probably be very dependent on what happens in the market. Meta, still kind of crazy up here. I mean, I'd like to see it pull back more, but then again, it could end up going back up to 360. But I wouldn't be watching it unless it breaks underneath 350, push down to 345. You get this area right here, 345. Actually, yeah, 345, and you get 340, 335. It's gonna be $5, 330. And they're just attracted to the $5 marks, 330, and then you get 325. So keep an eye on Meta on that one too. So we'll have to see what happens this week. It's going to be very dependent on what happens as far as news and stuff like that. So like I said, we are one headline away from disaster this week or any week this next couple of weeks. I think that I feel like China's going to do something in the next couple months. So I could be completely wrong. I don't know. But to me, I just feel like if China wants to invade Taiwan, they need to do it under Biden while he's a pushover. Because if Trump gets elected, China's not going to go after Taiwan with Trump in office. Assuming Trump makes it, because they're afraid of Trump, and they should be. But if no one's afraid of Biden, he's a pushover. He's a laughing stock of the world. And no one's going to take him seriously. He doesn't even know where he is half the time, let alone able to stop another superpower like China and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe Russia does something crazy and starts nuking Ukraine. I don't know. I mean, anything's possible. We got a lot going on. The market's up too high. VIX is too low. There's just way too much going on. We got North Korea doing crazy shit too. Yeah, we are literally one headline away from having a black swan event. That's just with North Korea, Russia, Ukraine, China, and Taiwan. That's not including other economic crisis we have, debt crisis we have going on. So a lot going on. Everything's too high and too low for all the conditions going on in the world right now. So that's going to do it for the watch list, and thanks for watching.